nuclear commander says he would refuse nuclear strike orders from President Trump if those orders were illegal. General John Hyten says his first obligation is to follow the law and not just the orders of the commander-in-chief.
I provide advice to the president. He'll tell me what to do, and if it's illegal, guess what's going to happen?
You say no.
I'm going to say, Mr. President, that's illegal. And guess what he's going to do? He's going to say, what would be legal? And we'll come up with options of a mix of capabilities to respond to whatever the situation is. And that's the way it works. It's not that complicated.
All right, joining me right now is Lieutenant General Mark Hurtling. He is a CNN military analyst and was also a commanding general in the U.S. Army. All right, General Hurtling, so is it remarkable to you that the general would make that kind of statement?
It is not, Frederica. And what's interesting is I think General Hyten was taken a little bit out of context, because what they were talking about at this conference was the different processes and procedures that are in place for the launch of nuclear weapons and how safe that is. And I think what General Hyten was attempting to explain to the audience there was that there are, in fact, processes and systems in place, that it isn't just something that occurs. And, in fact, when he's asked potentially to launch nuclear weapons, that there is a systemic approach to doing that, that it isn't just someone calling him on the phone and saying, okay, launch 3 missiles at someone. And I think he is saying, well, no, I don't think, I know he is saying something that all military commanders will say, because they take an oath to not only defend the Constitution, but to obey the president and the orders of the officers appointed over them according to regulation and the Uniform Code of Military.
Legal.
Well, in this case, you know, they had an extensive conversation during this conference about the potential for both nuclear strikes, preemptive strikes, and other kinds of use of nuclear weapons. And that came or drew them to the conclusion of what they were talking about in terms of obeying orders. So when you have a situation like this, if there is a danger to the United States, and it is something that might occur very rapidly, there are systems and processes in place associated with the nuclear codes. And it's not just the president calling directly to some commander and saying launch. The Secretary of Defense and other members of the National Security Council are involved. They've probably talked about this beforehand, and I think that's the point that General Hyten was trying to make, that throughout his career, I think he has 36 years in the military as a nuclear weaponeer, he has practiced multiple times exactly how to proceed in these kind of processes. It isn't just something that takes place on a phone call. And this is something that former Secretary of Defense Carter said on CNN a few days ago, too, and it calms the fears of a lot of people that are saying that perhaps President Trump, or any president for that matter, might have a bad day and decide to launch nuclear weapons, and it just doesn't happen that way. So it's an attempt to calm the nation in terms of understanding the way these processes occur.
All right, General Mark Hurtling, thanks so much.